Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to start by running through the project, the task, one after the other. And the first task you will do is called shell navigations. When you open the shell navigation project, the resources needed for you to run this program is given here, 1, 2, 3. If you go through it line by line, I'm sure you'll be able to do this. Very simple, right? And basically, these are the tools you really need to understand. There are a lot of tools in shell navigation when it comes to Linux. There are so many of them. But for the purpose of this very course, this very task, this very project, the only thing you need is about 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11, 12, thereabouts. These are the only things you need to know. Now, we will not dive deep into the problem itself first, but we need to understand what this means before going to answer the problems, all right? So let's launch our sandbox. How do we do that? We simply go to our sandbox here and launch it. Or you can use the other part, which is the Ubuntu you installed if you really do that. But if you didn't, let's use our Web 10. Okay, this is our Web 10. The first thing there on our list, let me go back here. The first thing on our list is PWD. What is PWD? PWD actually means present working directory. But let's see to that. Let's go back to our terminal. And then here we can write man PWD. That's just the manual for PWD. It tells us that PWD means print name of current or working directory. Okay. So if thereabout we use we press Q to go back to where we were. If we print the PWD, that's present working directory, and then hit enter, it gave us a slash. That simply means that there is no working directory. There's no directory presently as we are in right now. We're only at the root folder, or let me say the root directory. Or we can actually move from here into other directories. All right. Let's really see how that PWD works when we navigate into other directories. For instance, I have a directory like delete. Let me change to delete. All right. Now I have this directory called delete. Okay. If I should type pwd, now it's going to display delete because that is my present working directory. It's what I'm working on delete directory. So I hope you now understand what pwd means. We now go to the next one. It's called ls. What is ls? Now there is something here called man ls. Man is just a shortcut for manual. Now let's see to that. If I type man ls and then enter, it's telling me that ls means list directory content. That means it's gonna tell me what is inside my directory. That's the meaning of list. The man there is manual to give you an insight of what that command means. All right, for me to quit this, we simply type Q because it's written here. Press H for help or Q for quit. So I simply press what? Q. And then it's going to take me back to where I was. So let's see. If I type ls, it means list. Enter. There is nothing happening. That's because there is nothing inside this delete. All right. This is a folder. It's simply an empty folder. So when I say list, nothing is shown because there's nothing inside the folder. Now let's assume we have something inside the folder. Let me just make a file. I will explain that. Touch file. I've created a file called file. Now if I now list, you've noticed that we have file inside. So list is going to tell you the details, the content of this what? Directory. I hope that was very simple. Now we go to the next one. The next one is called cd. What is cd? Cd simply means change directory. Change what? Directory. So if I should write cd, now I want to cd to where? First, we need to ensure that there is a folder inside this directory. Okay? Now, looking at the folder directory, there's no folder. So if I type cd, and then where do I want to cd to? I don't know. If I type something like, let's say, folder, and then enter, it tells us, oh, no such file or directory. There's nothing like folder inside this delete file, or sorry, inside this delete directory. So now let's assume we go back. We want to go back to the previous directory. We can simply type cd space dot dot. This means go back to my previous directory. If I press enter, it takes me back to my previous directory. Now, if I now type that cd again, and then I want to go back to delete, I'll simply type cd space delete. All right. Once I hit enter, you've noticed that it has changed from the root directory to delete directory. So cd changes from the current directory to your directory. Now, you can simply want to change from this directory to a directory not the root or something somewhere very far. You can simply say I want to go to let's say temporary directory. I can simply type cd space, I don't know what its name is called, but that's just the symbol to take you to the root directory /tmp, and then enter. You've noticed that it has changed to the directory called tmp, but I'm not following the navigations of passing through one path to the other. Using this format will take you straight to that directory irrespective of where the directory is. So let's go back. We now do cd dot dot. We're back to our directory. But if you type cd, just cd, what will happen? Just cd, nothing else. That means go back to my what? Root directory. That's what cd means. It will go back to your root directory. All right. Now, if I type list, you can see that I have other files here, but it's different from these files. I hope you're following me. Look at this. Emacs, VI, Emacs School, and the rest. It's a different thing from this very one. Okay, this is different from this. This is because this is a different directory. Okay, but this is another different directory. Both are root directories. So if I should type cd and then I put slash, I'm back to this very directory. So if I write cd, or let's say if I do list, you'll notice that I have different content from the root directory. So what is root directory? Simply type cd and then hit enter. That takes you what? To the root directory. That's the difference. This sign means root directory. This very slash is pointing to a created directories. This one takes you to the root directory of your what? Your work. Okay, that was it. Now the terminal is getting compacted, so you can type clear to clear the terminal. All right, that was about lists or cd. The next thing is here is called what? Less. What is less? You can use the man less to tell us what less really means, but less simply means show me the content of a particular file. Show me what's the content of a particular file. Now let's say, let me list this and see if we have a file here. Okay, we have a file called school. Where you see the white simply means a file. Where you see the blue, it's simply a directory. So if I say less, school, school, enter. This is the content of what? The school. Do you understand that? Just like you open a file called my file.doc, that's a document file. So when you open it, type some letter inside, then you save. When you use less, it's printing the content of that file. That's just it. So you can press Q to go back to where you were. And what's the next thing here? It's called touch. All right, touch is used to create a file. All right, touch is used to create a file. Like you want to create notepad file in your normal Windows program. What do? You simply create notepad, or you create a file with .txt. Okay, now touch is used to create a file of any file extension. For instance, I want to create a C file. I'll simply write touch and this, or let me say file.c. This simply means I'm creating a C language file called file. Enter. If I want to create a bash file, I can simply say touch file.sh. That is the extension for bash. If I want to create a file with no extension, I simply write touch and then I write file. Those are three different things. Now let's list. You can see file.c, file.sh, and you can also see file. That's the work of touch. I hope you're following me. Okay, the next thing here is cp. Cp means copy. Okay, I want to copy this file.c into this welcome folder. So what I will simply do is to use the command cp and copy. What do you want to copy? I want to copy the file called file.c into where? Into welcome folder, and then I just hit enter. That's all. Now if I let cd into that welcome, we just simply write cd change directory into welcome and then hit enter. If we list, whoa, you can see that we have the file.c in here. That's just about using cp. The next thing here is mv. Mv is just the same thing like cp, simply means move. All right, you're gonna move the file from a particular folder to another folder. It's not gonna copy, so that means if you move from this folder to the next folder, you will not see it again. Now let's try that. All right, so we actually want to move this file.c into the folder called folder 1. But now notice something. If I should say move this file.c to the folder folder 1, it's not going to work because this folder 1 is found under the root directory. So hence you have to either go back to the file, or you simply write the sign slash, then you put the folder 1 and then enter. Now if you cd dot dot, that's go back to your root directory and then cd into the folder 1. If you list, you will definitely see that file there, file.c. That's how to use cd to navigate, go front, go back, go left, go right, and the rest of it. There are still other ways you can use this cd, but we will explore as we proceed. The next thing here is called the rm. Rm simply means remove. Probably I don't want this folder again. I will simply cd dot go back, then I'll do remove rm folder 1. I want to remove folder 1. Enter. But it's not going to remove. Why? Because cannot remove folder 1 is a directory. Good. Rm is used to remove files, while mkrm is used to remove directory. This very one, sorry, not mk. rmdir is used to remove directory, and then mkdir is used to make directory. Let's treat the three at the same time. Now, if I should say rm, I want to remove that file.c, and then rm file.c, and then hit enter. If I list, you notice that that file.c, which was here, is no more here. Rm is used to delete a file and not a folder. Now, if I want to delete a folder, let's say I want to remove this welcome folder, I'll simply use rm, that's remove dir, remove directory, that's the meaning. I want to remove welcome. And once I hit enter, if I list, okay, whoa, they said welcome is not an empty directory. So you cannot use this rmdir to remove what? An empty directory. How will you do that? You can simply use rm remove, then a flag called -r. That means recursively remove the files recursively inside the folder of welcome. We'll treat that better later. Sorry about that. Ctrl C. Let's repeat that again. Rm -r welcome. Hit enter. Now that file is gone. Let's list. You notice that welcome is no more there. So if a folder contains a file or anything, you can't use remove directory alone. It's not going to work. You must have this flag. Remove recursively the files, and then before you remove, delete the folder. So how can we use the rmdir? Let's say I make directory mkdir. I want to make a folder called folder. If you list, you will see that folder inside. You can see here folder. So if I now say rm remove directory, then I type folder, and then I hit enter. If I list, that folder is not going to be there again because there was nothing inside the folder. So that is about make directory, remove directory. Been able to cover all this. If you have any question, leave a comment in the comment section. I'll come back and answer your question. So now let's actually go back to the main project. First, they say change your working directory to root. Now, we've gone through all those assessments and realized that to change directory simply what cd, and then you change your directory to what root directory. That's very simple enough. So let's clear this clear. So if you have this experience, it simply means that you are out of network. That means you need to reconnect your network. Sometimes it happens on web terminal. That's why I normally like to use my own local terminal. I'll show you how to do that later. All right, sorry for the network interference. We're back again. For my project here, it's stated here that we should change our working directory to root and then create an empty file called so-cool. Now, that's very simple. We've gone through all this. The first question is, which of the commands am I actually using to implement this? And we can know that to change your working directory, we need the cd, and then to create a file, we need what? The touch. So we simply go back to our project and then change to root folder is just to write c, that's all. We are done with that, and then in the root directory, we are told to create a file called what? So cool. So that's touch, touch, so cool. Enter. That's all you need to do. And then you go back here and then click on check your code. You're done with that very first task. You go to the next one. The next one says change your working directory to root, then copy the file school to temporary directory. So that's pretty cool. Again, that's very simple. You cd to root directory, just cd, that's all. Then you copy the file cp. What are you supposed to copy? You're supposed to copy the file called school to temporary file or directory. So you copy alx-software-engineering to tmp. You're done with that very task. You check your code, that's all. Now you go to the next task. Change your working directory to root, then rename the file old school to new school. Now when you're renaming the file, you're using the command move, is the same thing. So what you simply do here is to cd to your root directory, then you move the file. Move is the same thing as rename when it comes to Linux. So you have to rename the file old school. So you move old school, OLD SCHOOL, and then you're supposed to rename to what? New school. Then you type new school. Enter. That's all. You're done with that project. Now this is because I've already done this task before, so there is no file called old school that I'm going to move. But assuming it was there, you can move. Now let's just do that. Let's create the file because you're supposed to do what? Move the file old school to new school. So let's create the file touch old school. Okay. Now if I list this, I'm definitely gonna see the old school. Here is the old school. All right, let's delete this new school so it will not complicate our issue. So let's delete, remove new school. Okay, so if you list again, you realize that the new school is not there. We have old school. Now you're supposed to rename old school to become new school. So what will you do? You simply use the move command, move old school, and then change it to what? New school. Enter. If you list, you'll definitely see that that's old school has changed to new school. That's just it. Then you simply check your code. You're done with that very task. It's very simple. The next one here is supposed to change your working directory to root. We know how to do that already. Then move the file, not here, to temp and write school. Just very simple. You simply go back there and then move the file. Sorry, it's env. Move the file, not here, to. Now you can simply come here and then copy this Okay, you can right click, copy this, then come to your web term and paste. Okay, but once you do that, you check your code, it's simply going to check. You now move to the next one. They say change the working directory to root, then delete the file ready to be removed. Okay, we go back here, and then look for the file ready to be removed. However, it's not here because I've done that task before. So let's just assume we have the file touch ready to be removed. Okay, so we have the file inside our folder now ready to be removed. So to remove that file is simply rm. We've created that already. Remove lists. The file is gone. So that means you're done with 4 tasks. You move to the 5th one. Now they said access your sandbox and change your working directory to root. Then create a directory called school is amazing. Now this is very simple. You simply cd to your root and then make directory school is amazing. Enter. You're done with that very task also. Then the last task here says access your sandbox and change your working directory to root. Then remove the directory empty directory. Note, you have to remove the directory empty. You're going to use rmdir. So you use rmdir and then the file name that was given empty directory. But once you hit enter, the file will be gone. Then you come back here and then check your code. You are done with task 1. That was pretty simple. See you in the next project. Bye for now. If you have any question, feel free to drop your comment in the comment section. I'll come back to answer your question. Thank you for having me around and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Bye.